We'll start with a happy birthday, Jamie. We're going to sing to Jamie. Ready? Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to you.
you. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
dear
dear
Jamie.
Jamie.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to
you.
you. And many more. That's my favorite line from Big. And it's the way I do everything here. All right. So we are going to get started. I'm going to find my notes. And if anybody comes in, I will let them in. Okay. Well, so we're going to open with just us, I guess. But I want to take a minute to celebrate this week. So after 11 weeks together, I want to know what we are celebrating from this past week or the week before that, or something that's happened since the last time we've all been together that maybe you are proud of, the work that you've been doing, whether it's big or small. Maybe you did one of the four agreements: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, always do your best. Or maybe you stayed true to your values this week, something that we learned last week. Or maybe you were able to practice some self-awareness and it paid off. Maybe you had a breakthrough in one of your relationships or one of your habits. Or maybe you stayed on your dock when you normally would have jumped off, or you jumped off and noticed and got right back on. Um, or maybe you just heard a limiting belief or a fear whispering in your head and you said, not today, and were able to shut it down. So I've had one-on-one sessions with all of you. I know there's stuff to celebrate. So who wants to start with a celebration? All right, Lisa. I was going to call on somebody.
Been so long since I've been here. Am I muted?
No, you're on.
Okay. Um, oh, I just screwed it up. So, last week I got to spend some time with my sister, who our relationship has been strained, not estranged, but just strained over the last couple of years. Um, my mom having knee replacement surgery kind of stuck us together in the hospital for 7 hours together. And I was able to be there for her and share some of the information and ideas and things that I've learned here, that will hopefully help her on her journey, where her life is literally falling apart right now.
That's amazing. And that's, you guys, I have a tattoo. It's, if you can see it, but it's a cross and then it has a couple dots and a couple more dots and then this light on the world. And that's really what it symbolizes, Lisa. It's God shines his light on me, right? The universe shines its light on me. Our soul shines its light on us. We have this light. And then we get to shine it on, for me, I have on my relationship, on my kids, and then on the world, right? It's this big, it goes into this big bolt of sunshine. When you start to lead with this stuff, you can't keep it to yourself. You can't, you, so many of us can't sit there anymore and just listen to what we used to listen to before without being like, there's a new perspective on that. Would you like to hear it? Like, you may be able to take a new path on that. Do you want to hear something I learned? Because it's literally contagious when you start to untangle and you want to let other people know that it's possible for them to get untangled too. So it's exactly why I love doing this kind of work. And I am just so proud of you, for taking everything you've learned and not keeping it to yourself. It's really what life is all about. It's what real love is all about, and compassion and kindness. And God, it's just amazing.
Because
And
you
you
have to
never know.
choose who you share it with. You can't
Yes,
just share it with everybody either. Um,
true.
I knew that that it would have been received well, and I didn't tell her anything to do, just shared how I've gotten through things and that this has helped.
And that's the key. The key is saying, I've been through that doing this. Do you want to hear how? Right? Not you should. right? Because we don't want to shut on everybody else. We're just working on not shutting on ourselves. Now we don't want to take the shutting on ourselves that we did and shut on other people, right? We just want to be. So you're absolutely right. It's only going to be received by people that are ready or that ask for it. And it's really always important to ask for permission. Would you like to hear something I learned when I was going through that? Simple as that. They could say yes or no. They may be like, no, I really don't want to. I want to sit in my muck. Some people will say that, and that's fine. Or they'll be defensive. Like, I don't need anything like that. Okay. If you ever want to know, I went through something similar, right? So kudos to you. Awesome. Awesome share. Who else wants to share something? Anything?
Sure.
Yeah. Monique,
We did not have a one-on-one last week, but this is a big one. Um,
you're a
I
little muffled though. You're a little muffled.
Can you hear me
There you
better
go.
now?
Yes,
Okay.
much better.
So I stood in my truth on Friday. My manager was claiming things that were untrue about me, because I spoke up against the things that she's doing at work, and I asked for help, and it made her uncomfortable to the point where she twisted people's words and tried to demote me for my current role. And I gracefully said, go fly a fucking kite. Um, I am not taking your offer. And good luck without me, because you're going to be sunk. And I didn't respond to her. I only communicated with HR. They actually apologized to me. Um, there's two of them that I worked with that said this was absolutely unprofessional. They were sorry to be a part of it, that I was a valued part of the team. They're sorry that I'm leaving. But I'm the only one willing to speak out. And because I am speaking out, hopefully they can find some stuff to make some changes. Um, and yeah, I got some calls today, even from the former owner of the company, who was like taken aback that I'm not there anymore. Um, yeah, it felt really good to know that sticking to my guns, and even though it's uncomfortable because I'm a single mom, um, I'm gonna be okay, and I'm gonna be more than okay. I literally felt like 1,000 pounds was lifted off of me, and I shared probably a little too much truth, and I felt a little uncomfortable today, but I know tomorrow I'll be fine.
I let's all give Monique a round of applause, please. Right? Because this was all about values.
Yep.
This was all about authenticity and integrity and loyalty, and they all were coming to a head. And when we did our values lesson, it was really like eye-opening, right, Monique?
Yes, yes. And she was
And
not being authentic, and she was not um working with integrity, and those are two of my big values. And it's like I can't continue to support somebody like this. I don't feel good in my skin, and I haven't felt good in my skin for a year. It's been a long time coming. So,
yeah. And what happens is, listen, and the bravery and the courage is what it takes to free up the space for the something that is the better fit for those values to come in. Because when we hold on to the things that aren't in alignment and they don't feel good, and we're constantly down here below the line in those emotions of frustration and overwhelm and anger and disappointment, all of it, we're only going to attract things down here. Right. So we're going to keep getting more and more and more of the same. And so until we can release whatever it is that's holding us down, like the cork, right? You're like a cork and you were trying to be held underwater, and eventually you got to pop up above the water. But now that you're up here, I have no doubt in my mind the true things that align with the true Monique are going to come. They're
thank
going
you.
to come. Very proud.
Thank you.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
proud. And you shined a light for other people. You shined a light for other people in that office too.
I did. And that was the whole goal of me, like sharing extra information. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you can believe what you want to believe, right? But if what I'm saying is the truth, then no one else is going to feel comfortable saying things to you because of A, B, and C. And I laid out the little things that go on, that someone who we were friends. Our company went from a mom and pop shop to being owned by private equity and going nationwide. And like I saw the good, bad, and the ugly of this person. And um sometimes I was a part of it. And I own that too. I said, look, you're going to see things in my emails that I'm not proud of, things that I did or that I didn't shine a light on. But it got to be just too much. And I couldn't,
Everything goes from darkness to the light. Eventually, it always
yep,
comes to the light.
yep.
All right. Amazing. Amazing. Who else
Thank you.
has something? Not that you're standing up quitting your job, but it's a Jerry Maguire moment we got to follow here. But who else has something? Something that you're excited to share, something that you're walking through in this work, something that we're proud of and we can celebrate. Who's got something? I'm going to call out people because I know you all got some. Oh, there's Heather. Let's see. What do you got, Heather?
So mine is actually news that I got that I didn't want, but I'm going to celebrate it because it did not cause me to go below the line, which is shocking. So I've, been on a job search for quite a while now. It's over 6 months, creeping up to 9 months, and it's been very difficult, and it really caused me a lot of internal angst and really bringing up the I'm not good enough whole thing for months. And that's when I really was just feeling rotten. And as Jackie has said, I think it led me to this group and to doing this work, which is also a benefit. So anyway, I had a job interview. I thought it went really well, and I got a call. I had a conversation with the recruiter, and it was all the HR BS stuff. It was down to me and someone else. It just was a better fit, blah, blah, blah. And I was like a little ticked when I got off the call, but I didn't let it, like, it doesn't have anything to do with me, really. Like, it does, but it doesn't, right? They don't know me. They don't know what they're missing. And I felt a little bad. And my husband came home and was like a little bit, because I just texted him. I'm like, okay, I didn't get it. And he was very tentative, kind of like peeking his head in. Hi, I'm home. He thought I was going to bite his head off. But I've been pretty good. And I have this weird sense that something else is there. It's like right there somewhere. It's just, I haven't gotten it yet. And that's what I feel. And I just feel like it's just going to come when it's supposed to. And hopefully that's, sooner than later. I'm not, as we said before, I'm not going to end up in a box, luckily.
Nope.
But I felt good that it didn't totally drag me under. And then in conjunction with that, I got some information about this volunteering position that sounded really interesting to me. And because I have the time, I went to the meeting today, and I feel like it's going to be something that is really going to enhance my everyday life as well, working with foster children, kids in the foster system. And I think I'll be really good at it. So it's a volunteer spot, so I also need a job, but it's something that makes me feel good. And I just think something's going to happen. So, and I'm not one to be all that, rainbow and unicorns. I'm usually like, the stakes, why is this happening to me? But I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't feel it right now. I feel like something good is around the corner.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Congratulations on not getting the job. And here's why, because you're absolutely right, right? Because it's divine time. And this whole interview process was here to teach you something, right? Like, there is a lesson in all of it. It's always for us. So whether the outcome, there's something really good. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it when you guys are doing the meditation. I'm going to show it to you afterwards. But I have a video that I want to show you guys. Hold on. Let me write it down so I don't forget. Okay. So something good's going to come of it. Something good's going to come of it. It really is. And whether it was, I don't know, I've told some of you this story, but if you go to the Bible, right, like Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt to get to the promised land. And the journey between Egypt and Israel by foot should have taken 6 days. It took, does anybody know?
30 years or something?
40, right? Monique's got her hand up, right? 40 years. Took 40 years to go 6 days worth of traveling. Why? Because God said you can't get to the promised land unless you learn all the lessons that you have to learn before you get there. And they had to go around and around and around the same mountain until they learned the lessons. And sometimes some of these experiences we have are to kind of see if we learn the lesson, right? So if you were all woe is me every time you didn't get a job, and now here's an opportunity for you to not, well, guess what? you learn the lesson. Right.
Mm.
So you can look at it from that point of view. And you can also say, eventually, I always say, with every so-called bad thing that happens to us, try and look for 6 good things and you will find them. Right. So already, number one, you finished that sentence with, but I got this volunteer gig and you and I have spoken about it. It's something you wanted a long time ago. In my head, I thought when we spoke about it, oh my God, she's going to get this job. At the same time, she gets this and she's not going to be able to do it again.
Mm.
Right. And so we launched these rockets to the universe about what we want, and you want this. And so you're going to go do this and you're going to be happy and you're going to be up here giving above the line. And then you're going to attract all more things up here. And this attitude towards this job wasn't for me. I'm totally fine with it. All up here. And your reaction to John and the family around when it happened, all up here. Right. So only things that are meeting this vibration are going to come to you. And that's the goal. Stay up here. Stay upstairs. So even if you went down the basement for a second, peek down there and you're like, yeah, no, I'm not going down.
Yeah.
You can't answer the door to opportunities if you're in the basement. So I'm super, super proud of you that you stayed up there. And I can't wait to hear about the volunteer thing.
Hopefully, I won't be waiting 40 years, but
Nope. Well, you could have just
a
cut
little
it
bit
down.
quicker than that.
A little bit quicker. A little bit quicker. All right. Who's next? Who's next? Who's celebrating something that you put into action? Something that you're super proud of that makes you feel good? Something. All right. I'm going to call you out, Mary Margaret, because you got something. It was delivered to your door on Friday.
Yes, it was. No, I was listening to Heather and it totally reminded me of myself because I lost my job with the doctor I worked for and I knew I wanted to leave and it had been coming for a while, but I couldn't afford to leave because I was making such good money there. So I was trying and nothing was panning out. And then she finally let me go. And it was really awful. And it was during the pandemic. And it was right when all that supplemental unemployment ran out. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I put it out there in the universe. Like, I just need something to hold me over. Like, I don't want to just take the first thing that comes. And so that's exactly what happened. I did a lot of like part-time jobs that ended up being full-time when I did it all together, but kind of like Jackie, I got to do different things and I didn't get stuck in just one thing. But everybody wanted to put me in a box. They're like, "Well, you need to work for another doctor and da 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 da." And something in my gut, exactly like what you said, like I just knew that wasn't the right move. And I'm like, all these jobs, because I used to work for Weight Watchers. And so I had applied for all these corporate jobs. And just like you, I was like top two, top three. I made it all the way to the top. And then they said the same thing they said to you. And I was so discouraged. And then I said, you know what? No, this is the way it's meant to be because I would have had, I'm West Coast. I'm not far from where I'm far enough from the fires that are going on right now, but close enough that there's ash raining everywhere. But anyway, I would have had to move to New York. And I think I would have been one of the first people that was cut because I would have been the new person, in the job. So I waited, and I always wanted to work for Disney as an artist. And these jobs that had not been open before the pandemic opened up, and I got it. And now I'm like moving up the ladder in Disney, and I went from like, oh, I really want to make this much to, oh my gosh, I'm making like a third of what I was making. And now in 2 years, I almost doubled my pay. And it's in my field, it's in what I studied in school. I get to use all the things that I did before, kind of in this one job. And everybody I'm working with sees it. The managers on different teams see it. And everybody didn't understand it, but I did. And in my gut, I knew that was the right thing to do. So you're on the right path, even if it doesn't feel like you are. I hope I'm not putting my words into your story, but it just really reminded me of that. But for me, so like I said, I'm an artist, but now that I got this other position, I got a promotion in May and it's fun, but I don't have anything creative. So Jackie and I have been talking in our one-on-ones about buying a shed to put in my backyard because I don't have enough space in my house to just paint and leave it messy and leave it the way I want it. So Jackie helped talk me into it. I already knew I wanted to do it, but Jackie helped push me over the edge. So it came on Friday, but with all these fires, like it's really intense. I know it's been all over the media for you guys, but I'm like here and I know people there and not a lot of people I know have lost their homes, but it's like you can't even describe what I've never seen anything like it. And so Like Saturday morning, I woke up and I was watching the news with the dogs, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. So then I'm looking at my phone and it's all over my phone. I said, I can't do this. I'm going to start putting my shed together. So I took everything out and I laid it all out. And I can only get so far. I kind of need help from somebody else at some point, but it just felt good to not sit in whatever bad things were going on and do something. I mean, I can't control all those other things, but I could control my little shed. So I started building it on
I
Saturday.
can't believe it. So did you not have your gigs or you just said,
No, I had my gigs.
all
I
right,
just
well,
said like I sing too. So I had a gig Saturday night and I had a gig all day yesterday. So I didn't really have to start getting ready till like 3 o'clock. So I said, okay, I have from whatever time it is now till 3. So I did as much as I could in that time and then I stopped and left it. But
so this is like a shed, like a shed. It has a window, like it's like a she shed. So
yeah,
it's going to be all arts and crafts, and I'm
yeah.
super excited. That's what it is. We paint a picture of what we want, and then we just have to have the courage to go get it. Right. And it's all the manager jumps in. Well, you don't have the money for that. And you're never going to go out there and you're going to, yeah, guess what? I am like, shut up. Right. Leave me alone. If you take her out of here and put her on the couch, you would be like kicking her, like, get away from me. Right. Like I am going to do this. And sometimes you just need that little push, someone to encourage you to actually do the things that you say you want to do. And that's the beauty of all this. So our thoughts and prayers are with everybody out there. It is all over the news here too. We can't get away from it. I can't even imagine if you're in a place where you see and smell and watch the ash and you actually have family and friends in it. But um, Melissa and I were talking about that too. Her husband's a firefighter. So it really does affect people on all different levels. There's so many values that come up here, right? Like it's a value of justice for the people, and it's a value of fairness, and it's value of compassion. And these kind of things can really tug. Right. And I love how you didn't let it just keep you down, right? Like we can feel all those things, but Wayne Dyer says, you can't be poor enough to make someone else rich. You can't be sad enough to make someone else happy. You can't be, safe enough to make someone else unsafe enough to make someone else safe, right? Like we have to stay up here and live our lives, right? And then just reach down and bring people wherever we can. But, it doesn't help if we stay down here,
it
right?
really does
There's
make you think though, like, okay, if it were me, what are the most important things? And it kind of just makes you start to like erase all the other stupid superficial things that don't matter. You know how they say like sometimes people be like, okay, you're on a deserted island, you take what? It's like, well, this is not, as nice as a deserted island might be, but it makes you think, what are the 5 things I'm going to grab? And makes you think like maybe I need to be more prepared. Like those people weren't expecting that to happen. Like nobody's expecting a disaster or big accident to happen. So I don't know. It's made me think like, what do I need? What do I not need? And I haven't really had the time because of all these gigs, but I just want to start going through, and I am little by little, but like going through parts of the house and just getting rid of stuff. And if there's stuff that somebody else can use that just lost everything, I can donate that to them and just keep what's important and not all this other extra stuff that we don't need.
because it's just stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Can't
just
take it with
stuff.
you.
Can't take it with you.
Yeah.
Nobody, there's no U-Haul attached to the Hertz, as they say. All right, who's left? Teresa, Melissa, you got anything to share?
My daughter's egging me on.
All right, I love her.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Antoinette down there. Maybe she wants to share. All right, what do you got, Melissa? Something you're proud of. Work you're doing, above the line, something.
I am proud of, yes, I'm always proud of you. I am proud of balancing motherhood and trying to get this through. I'm proud of making a compromise tonight. I really wanted to come and I couldn't do it without Delilah being here. Well, I could, but
Yeah.
and we decided that we were going to learn together. So I think that was an optimistic moment instead of feeling defeated. I incorporated something that's important to me and hoping that she'll learn from it instead of just assuming that put her downstairs and in front of the television, even though this is happening.
And that's all right. And believing that if it doesn't work out, we can pivot.
Yeah.
Right? If it doesn't work out, we can pivot. That's it. But I'm going to give it a shot. And I love that. I love that. It takes vulnerability to give it a shot.
Yeah.
We're happy to have Delilah here. You're never too young to learn how to take care of yourself.
I know how to pivot.
You do?
I do it in basketball.
That's absolutely right. I heard you scored your first goal the other day.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. We'll talk more about that next time I talk to Mommy Alone, all right? Congrats, kiddo. All right.
Thanks, gal.
Antoinette, Teresa, something we're proud of. I'll unmute you both. You could fight it out for who's going first. Come on. Teresa, I'm calling on you. You have so much.
Well, the most recent thing, about 2 weeks ago, Jack and I were supposed to have our one-on-one, and I got a phone call from somebody from work, and they were leaving my group, and I lost it because I just went hysterical crying, and she reaches out to me and she goes, "Oh, I'm available like an hour earlier." I'm like, I can't stop crying right now. I can't, there's no way I could talk to you right now. So anyways, we spoke finally, and I said, she's like, "What's going on?" So I run a homeschool academic and enrichment center. So this is our third academic year. And, it's been rough trying to get people. Our first year, we started with 17 kids. Our second year, we bumped up to like 46 kids. This year, which was amazing, but this year, I don't know, I had a couple that just left us in September. And I'm like, WTF, am I doing wrong? Like, what's happening? What am I doing? What am I not doing? What's going on? I of course I was taking it very personally, and I was thinking it was all because of me and things that I was doing wrong and blah blah blah. And it just so happened that the day that we were supposed to have our one-on-one, this set of parents called me, and they said that they were going to remove their daughter because they just wanted to just traditionally homeschool her and just keep her home and just work with her one-on-one because of the kids' own issues. And they said, we can't stress enough how we love you guys and we love the educators and blah blah blah. But of course I didn't hear it, and all I heard was, it's you suck, you failed, you don't belong doing this, you're in over your head, why did you even open this, you're a joke, and all the things that I've always, I guess, heard or believed my whole entire life. Fast forward, we get on our call. Jackie basically made the whole call about teaching me about sales and telling me that this is, stop putting I have to put my heart into it, of course, but I can't take everything so personally, and business is business. And no matter what, I have to, try to implement a lot of sales tactics because I am essentially selling a product. And I never ever wanted to look at it as a business, because I was never in it for that reason. I knew, like, you don't go into teaching to become a millionaire. We know this. That's not why you do it. You do it because you love children and you want to help them, and you want to, you want to make sure you guide them in the right direction. And I believe so strongly about homeschooling and whatever. So the whole time, she really talked me down off the ledge, and it was amazing. And then I just turned it right around the next day, that Saturday, put my big girl panties on, went full speed ahead. Just had an open house on Saturday, had 7 families come in, 2 signed up on the spot, have tour. I thought it was a joke at first because I kept getting emails coming in consecutively, like bing, bang, boom, interested. I'm going, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is a joke. So Jackie paid people. Jackie called people. She was like, hey, you got to do me a favor.
Yeah,
My
but I did
client
it.
over here needs some help. Just throw her a bone. Tell her you're interested. And it was just mind blowing, but it just completely turned my whole life. I just put a pep in my step this week. So I'm really proud of that. And it's just amazing. So it was great. We had a kid that came in today for an assessment, and he's starting tomorrow. It's just incredible. So it just turned everything around. So thank you.
Well,
very
thank
much.
you. It's not me, it's you. It really
I gotta
is.
shut the sausage. Wait, I gotta take
Yeah.
the sausages on the grate. Sorry, I'm cooking and talking to you guys at the same time. Sorry. Okay.
It's below the line. Like, I didn't talk you off the ledge. I talked you above the ledge. That's what I
Right.
did. It was, I went down here. I suck. I'm not good enough. This is all about me, right? To absolutely not. This is just the sales cycle. What I know is in a sales cycle, people fall off and new people have to come in. What I know is, how are you getting these new people to come in? Well, and it was just a reminder of all the things you already were doing. And then a couple of maybe inspired ideas about new ways to start drumming up so that you never get to that below the line of, I'm not good enough, because there's a constant flow. And that's it, right? Like, so I'm in sales. Like, you're only here because I had to sell this program, right? Like, I am in it for this, not the money, but you need to make money in order to be able to share your gifts with the world, right? Somehow it needs to be financed for you to be able to share your gifts, whether it's through the actual gifts themselves or it's through something else. So some people work to finance their passion. Some people are able to combine their passion with their work. And I was just happy that I was there in that moment when you fell downstairs and you hit the button that says, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah,
And
well, I don't
you
believe in
showed,
coincidences. So there was a reason
no,
why it happened the day we were supposed to speak. And it happened
yeah.
prior, like shortly before we were supposed to get on a call. So that was amazing to me. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. This was supposed to happen this way.
Yeah. And 1 week later, it was like all of the boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh my God, here we are. But now look what's happening. There is no woe is me down here. You're only up here. You're in hope. You're in excitement. You're in joy. And guess what you're attracting? All the things that fit up here, the families, the emails, the people, the tours, it's all coming. That's our only job, you guys. Our only job is to stay above the line as often as we can and wait for it. We already are launching what we want. We're defining it. We're actually going to get really good at defining it tonight. We're going to define it a little bit more. And once we launch those rockets and we put the vision out there for what we really want, the universe is just going to keep delivering it as long as we remain in a place where we're open to receive it and see it and believe it.
Can I comment on that for a second?
Yes.
I just wanted to
Yes.
share, I own my own business, and I think about 15 years ago, I had like a direct competitor come into town, and it really threw me off. And a lot of people left initially because it was new and shiny, um, and I struggled with, do I change what I'm doing? Do I, it was, and I think this really keys into values too, because what I ultimately decided was I had to be me, and I had to attract people who understood what I was doing, and that would come back. Because, and what eventually happened was, the other, can you not do that? I appreciate that, but I'm trying to say something. Thank you. um I I really appreciated the fact that I stuck to my guns, and I recognized that what I had to offer was important, and that not everybody was going to understand that, but the ones that needed to understand that would come. And I feel like that's happening for you. Like, those people that they made space for the ones that needed to come. And if that didn't happen to you, you might not have had a fire under your ass. Sorry, like my daughter's letting me curse, but so anyway,
Yeah.
that's the side.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we're forced, right? We launched the rockets for what we want. Teresa and I had talked about how she wanted 50, right? And so what happens? What happens is the universe gives you all the things so that you can go get 50, right? Because if you're sitting at 46, you might be complacent and not really need to go and light a fire to go find 50, right? You're sitting at 36, but now you lose a couple and you're like, oh, wait, all those things I said I wanted, I better go put them into action. Right. So again, kudos to you. It was an impressive turnaround in a week. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. But I am super proud of you and for you. And Antoinette, we're going to leave with you. Anything exciting to share? There.
You hear me?
Yes, now I
Oh,
can.
now you can hear. Okay. Not really. I feel like ever since New Year's, I've been trying. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Just tying up loose ends, trying to get my resolutions going. Pretty much doing a lot of housekeeping, so to speak.
Right.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah, well, that's the work. That's something to be super proud of because you're doing the housekeeping, right? And it's stuff that you have this. So it kind of forces you to really take charge and do some stuff, right? And we don't let it linger. Anything that takes you out of routine can derail momentum. right? And so
Right.
we add holidays, they take us out of routine. Those of us that have kids that were at college, they came home, takes us out of the routine, right? Whatever else we have going on, adjusting people back to school, adjusting kids back to college, right? Dealing with family members that stayed for a long period of time. Like there's fires, like there's stuff. Anything that throws you out of your normal routine can stop momentum or slow it down. And it's just about picking back up and getting it started again and realizing you can't jump in at the momentum pace from where you left off. And that is the biggest hindrance on people quitting after trying to come back to something, because they're holding themselves to the standard of where they left off versus holding themselves to the standard of where they started. It happens with dieting. It happens with any kind of routine exercise, right? Like we think I used to be able to run, 13 miles. I'm a half marathon runner, right? So if I went in with that mentality, then every time I could just run a mile, I would be beating myself up and telling myself I'm not good enough and I stink and all this bad stuff. And then I'm going to quit, right? But if I go in and I say I'm starting at the exact point where I started before I ever ran any miles, well, now I can build momentum again. Right? So that's all you're doing. You're building momentum. So you're here, you're at the group, you're taking mental and physical inventory of what needs to happen, and we're going to get rolling. We have a one-on-one tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how I feel. I feel like I lost my momentum, but and I'm trying to get it back.
All right. That's it. There's no trying. Yoda says there's no trying, only doing. I don't know exactly how he says it, but that's how he says it. All right. Well, tonight we're going to come together as a group to kind of build on all of this work. So you're all doing it, right? Every single one of you is doing it, and nothing sounds exactly the same because we're all untangling all different things, right? So we've been doing a lot of work on our values and at getting to the core of who we really are. And last week, and the week before, we really started diving into these values and how they really can be the compass, and they can be like the signal to something that's off and what we want to do and where we want to go. But they really, really do guide the way. So in 2 sessions ago, I talked about values, 2 different kinds of seeds. There's limiting belief seeds, which are like the weeds that can kill your garden. And then there's the value seeds, which really make your garden into the beautiful thing that you wanted it to be. So values are the guide. And if we can pluck those limiting belief and those fear seeds out of our garden, we're really going to flourish. So we're going to use our values tonight to help us envision what our lives really could look like now that we know what is at the core of who we are. So everyone kind of just, if you have your notebook in front of you, just jot down the values that you remember that we pulled upon the past couple of weeks. It was like your top 3 or your top 5 values. If you have somebody sitting next to you, you could share your values with them and tell them what they were. But we're going to sit back and we're going to do a meditation, and we're going to close our eyes and we're just going to lead the way with our values. Oh, and Maddie and Delilah can do it with us. All right. So I am going to play some music. If you don't want the music, you can just sit in silence. Well, I guess you can't because I'm playing the music. So, well, anyway, hold on.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I can deal.
Okay. Pull this out. All right. So while I'm getting the music ready, I want you guys to just sit back and get comfortable. Get your feet, rest them on the ground. I'm going to play this. Share my screen. Only want that. No. Hold on, I'm just trying to find the right screen. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. So first, let's just find that comfortable position. You guys, if you want to lay down, I know Monique's already laying down. Teresa, just laying down. This one's going to be a little bit of a longer one. You might want to lay down. You can lay down on the floor. You could just sit back in your chair. And I want you to just close your eyes and take that one really big, deep breath in. And let the air fill your lungs completely. And then exhale, slowly opening your mouth. Releasing all of the air out of your lungs. Inhale again, and exhale that air out with all the tension that we store in our bodies. And just continue breathing, allowing each breath to just ground you more fully into the present moment. I want you to start at your head. Pay attention to any tension you might feel in your head or in your neck. And as you notice it, just release it. Let it go. Move down to the jaw of your mouth, your shoulders, your back, your chest, anything you're holding in your abdomen or your butt, your thighs. Scan down to your knees and your calves, wiggling muscles if you need to. You're going to go all the way down to your feet and your toes. Just releasing all of that tension and letting it melt out. Every exhale. All right, now that you're centered, I want you to imagine yourself standing in the center of a big, huge, radiant wheel. Wheel represents your wheel of life and all of the areas that are important to you. Your family and friends, your career, your finances, your romantic partner or partners, your personal growth and spirituality, social life, and your physical health. Picture this wheel below your feet glowing with vibrant energy that's pulsing and alive and full of potential and possibility. Now I want you to take your attention above you. There you'll see 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 radiant orbs of light, each one of them representing one of your core values. The lights might be the same in color, or they might be different. They might have different warmth or intensity. They might be glowing brighter or softer. Yellows or pinks or greens or blues. And they're all uniquely yours. And they're hovering over you, reflecting back onto your wheel all of the things that you hold most dear in your heart. Take a moment to notice and connect with these orbs. These are your values. Name them. Feel their presence and know that they're guiding you and lighting the way for your wheel to spin. We're going to watch as these orbs send beams of light outward, illuminating a path for you to walk onto each wedge of your own wheel. As you take a step forward into the first wedge, you can see how each one of these values is casting its glow, lighting your way toward the most authentic, purposeful version of yourself in this wedge. We're in the relationship wedge, and you can see the light of your values, whether it's compassion or loyalty, friendship or love. This light is shining on all of your interactions. See how you show up in your relationships when these values are lighting the way? What conversations are you having with the people closest to you? Can you feel a sense of connection or understanding? If the light is shining from authenticity, how do your interactions change? Picture your lights and your relationships flourishing under these lights, growing stronger and more aligned with who you truly are in this wedge. Now, as the light of your core values shines on, you're going to move over to the career wedge. You take a step over the line, and you can begin to envision the decisions and choices you're making at work. If integrity is one of your values, it's lighting the way for you to make decisions that align with your higher sense of honesty and fairness. Or maybe here creativity is the value that's guiding your path. What innovative ideas are you able to bring to your career if creativity was guiding the way? What about self-awareness? Are you more aware of your impact at work and the kind of environment you're contributing to with this as the orb, as your light? Now the glow of your values is illuminating a new wedge. You're stepping into the finances, and as you move there, you notice what new decisions you make about money and spending. If peace and fairness are your guiding lights, how do they impact your financial decisions with a sense of balance and harmony? Does your value of gratitude guide you? Does your value of giving allow you to make more choices that reflect your true self? How do you feel in this finance wedge when you align your finances with your deeper sense of who you are? Next, we're moving to romance. As you move your feet forward into this wedge of the wheel, you see that your values of loyalty or kindness or authenticity shine as they guide your romantic connections. How does this new light shape the way you show up with your partner? Do you see yourself having more fulfilling, meaningful connections? Or do you see yourself walking away from those you know are no longer aligned with who you truly are? Imagine how you could or would communicate with a partner differently if you were grounded in your core values. Up and notice them. See how they're guiding your way. Next, we move into the personal development wedge, where your values of honesty and self-awareness, integrity, fun, creativity, learning are here to shine the way. What does your self-development journey look like when these values are guiding you? How do you feel about the steps you're taking towards your own growth now versus just a few months ago? Where can these new lights take you in this wedge? And how can they help you navigate challenges and successes along the way? Pure, innocent wanderlust and curiosity fuel your desire to continue learning and exploring. Are you embracing your adventure for personal growth? What new opportunities can open up to you in this wedge when your wheel is under these beautiful, shining orbs of light? What about your social wedge? Think about the values that you want to guide you as you move into this wedge of your wheel and it lights up. Can community or friendship, kindness or empathy be your guides, your interactions? Can you show up differently than what you've done before? How can these values shape the way you decide to engage with others in your community now? To do in your social life guided by these orbs? What kind of connections are you forming or looking to form when you're out? What's important to you now, and how can you show up as your most authentic self to attract the people who resonate the most with these values? Finally, step into the last wedge, and your values lead you to your physical and emotional health. Is your newfound awareness of your core values able to better guide you to the health decisions you know you need in your life? With these lights guiding the way, how can you take care of your body and your mind? How can you honor its needs and listen to its wisdom? If creativity and curiosity are guiding you, are you exploring new ways to enhance your well-being? I want you to picture yourself feeling healthy and vibrant, energized and at peace in your mind and your body and your soul. And now these lights lead you right back to the center so that you can look out over all the wedges of your wheel of life. Once you get back to this center, I want you to take a big, deep breath in and notice the harmony and alignment that exists in this wheel all around, illuminated by the bright lights of your core values. As you breathe in and out, reflect on how exactly it feels to be in the center of this, watching the energy flow effortlessly between the wedges. Ask yourself, what kind of decisions, actions, conversations am I engaging in now that I'm living in full alignment with who I truly am, guided by these lights? I want you to take a deep breath in and feel the power of these values going from this wheel to inside of you. Let them fill up every part of you. Repeat them and call them by name and affirm them. I love being honest, authentic, and curious. I'm excited to live with authenticity and integrity. I always lead with compassion and kindness. I enjoy the diverse and creative life I'm creating. I look forward to all the fruits of living true to my values. And now, as you sit in this clarity, I want you to reflect on the resources you need to bring this vision to life. What kind of time, energy, or finances do you need? What other resources can you identify that will help bring your new vision to life? Do you need support from other people, mentors, friends, or a community that can encourage you and hold you accountable? Or maybe you need knowledge and skills that can cultivate through learning and growth. where you get to decide what you need to bring these visions to life. Allow yourself to visualize these resources flowing into your life as you surround yourself with this new vision. This new vision that's guided by your core values. This new vision that is who you are at your core. Imagine who will support you, who will guide you, who will empower you to take inspired action to move towards this life. Now take a deep breath in. Feel the flow of the resources surrounding you. And as you exhale, know that you are now aligned with both the values that guide you and the resources that will support you. Let this clarity stay with you as you open your eyes and we carry this new vision for this feel-good life forward. So just take a second to assimilate. Wiggle your hands and your feet. Come back to center. We are going to move right from this into a journaling exercise. So in your workbooks, in the beginning of your workbooks, stop my screen share. The beginning of your workbooks, you have a page that's, well, you have 8 pages actually that say bridging the gap. So they're these pages. And they're kind of at the beginning, they're next to contrast and clarity. And there's a spot on here that says vision. It's not too big. You could actually cross out current reality if you want to and use this whole area to write down your vision. And I want you to just think about everything you just witnessed in your own mind. And I want you to just dump it out. There's a page here for every wedge of the wheel. So this one's finances, there's one for career. So you can dump or you can just write on a separate piece of paper if you want to just get everything out and you don't want to be putting it on the right pages, or if you're like me and you're anal about being neat in your notebook and you want to just get it out and do it in chicken scratch first and go back and rewrite it. I want you to just get it all out. I want you to write down everything you witnessed. I want you to write down what it felt like, what you saw, what ideas you got, what resources you realize you need, what skill set, what time, what energy. I want you to just write it down. I want you to just dump it out. Go wheel wedge by wheel wedge, if it's important to you in that wheel wedge, and write down. We're going to take 10 minutes here. So there's no rush on this. I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to leave the music on. Move my dog out of here because he almost ruined the whole meditation. And I'm going to give you guys some time to sit with this. Just write down whatever comes to mind.
This is the Wheel of Life journal exercise.
Where are you?
Is that what you mean?
Oh, you totally could do that if you didn't do that before.
I already
But
did it.
no, I was saying on this page, after that, there's 8 pages called Bridging the Gap.
Oh,
They have like
okay.
a little flower at the top. They're right after contrast versus clarity. And
Okay. I found it.
there's a section on the bottom that says vision. And then there's a section on the side that says resources.
Okay.
So if you had a vision for this wedge, like this is relationships, you're going to write down what you saw, what you felt, what you were aware of. And then if you thought of resources that you know you need to make that come to life, you're just going to plop it down there. I'm going to set a timer. Anybody needs help, let me know. You can text me too, or you can put it in the chat. I'll read the chats in case you don't want to interrupt anybody. Come on. Like, please don't let him out. right. We're going to just bring ourselves back to the group. Oh, was I not sharing? Oh, I am sharing. And whatever thought you're working on right now, maybe you just want to finish that up. I have to turn off this YouTube because it's still playing in the background of my computer. There it is. Okay. How was that? Do you guys like that?
I
That's
like
one of my.
meditations.
You loved it? What'd you say? What did you say? I missed what you said.
I said I like meditations, but then you said you loved it, and yeah, I did.
Yes, I like I like it. No, you loved it. What did we learn? Did anybody learn anything from that meditation that you didn't know before? About yourself, about your values, about what you want?
Is it okay if I share real quick since I'm off mute
Yeah,
already?
please, please.
I have not been living my values. I've not been authentic or like sitting or operating out of integrity. And when I do that, every aspect of my life that you mentioned, right, on the wheel, it's like the same thing kept coming up. Happiness, contentment, and joy. Like when I flow, I'm in a good flow. And when I'm not being who I really am, then everything just starts to, not flow properly and get all funky. So,
So let me ask you a question. If you would be so honest,
yeah.
what are you leading with if you're not leading with integrity? What did you notice in any of those areas that you might have been leading with if it wasn't with integrity of your true authentic self?
So I was putting loyalty above everything else, and I realized that loyalty, right? If if it's not reciprocated, what does loyalty really mean? Like I could be loyal to you, but if you aren't reciprocating that, then I'm not being authentic. I don't feel like you're acting or you're being authentic, and I don't feel like you're um acting with integrity. And um I realized that and I'm going to go back to like what happened on Friday. I gave my boss the room to like really show me that loyalty was important because it's a core value at our office, right? It's on the wall and we say it and she says it like every day and on repeat, right? And I'm like, no, if you were loyal to me, you would have given me answers and you would have been honest with me and given me the truth, right? Even if it sucked, the truth can suck, but not having the truth and not, it's like I felt like I wasn't worth I wasn't you're not being loyal to me, I guess. And so like that's where I started, to not really care about certain things. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you could recognize what was leading the way, right? For some people, it's like, I'm not leading with integrity, I'm leading with money. I'm
Hmm.
not leading with integrity, I'm leading with loyalty. I'm not leading with integrity, I'm leading with, you fill in the blanks, right? Fear,
Hmm.
right? There's so many other things that could be leading us. So just the awareness of that is pretty amazing.
But I mean, again, if I wasn't doing this program, I don't think I would have you helped me with those aha little connections. So like, you know, um, it's like warp speed these past few weeks. Not few, but
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
correct. Thank you.
Teresa was saying the same thing, right, Teresa? Like, once I see it, I can't unsee it. All right, what else? Anybody, now that we did this journey inward and envisioned this life through this new lens of this core values, what stood out to you? Is anything different? Is any wedge of your wheel look different? If anybody wants to come off and answer this, is there any wedge of your wheel that looks different under the lights of these core values? Relationships, finances, career. You were all writing. You all have something. What did we uncover? Antoinette, you want to share? Hold on. I got to ask you to unmute.
I was writing more than I was listening, so I'm not even really sure what to talking about.
No, well, what'd you write? What'd you notice? What'd you write?
Does it matter which one?
No.
Okay. I did health and wellness. Um, I'm pre-diabetic. I'm overweight. Um, my vision is to get my sugar under control, be at a healthier weight. Resources was the gym, more personal time for me, cooking more, trying not to order out as much, and not procrastinating. That's my biggest problem. I procrastinate with everything. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll cook tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. Everything's tomorrow.
When I get around to it. There's a
Yes.
poem. There's a poem called The Round to It. I'm going to find it.
Oh, you gotta find it. Yeah.
The
Yeah, I'm a big procrastinator.
to it. All right. And if you lead with your values, how does it change this? How does it change the procrastination? If you're leading with your values, are you going to procrastinate?
No, I'm going to be more determined to get my goals done. See them
True to
through.
yourself.
Yep. Kinder to myself.
Kinder. There it is. Compassion is one of your values, right?
Yes.
I did this exercise while you were doing it too. And that's what I wrote under health and wellness. I make reasonable goals so that I can stay true to my integrity and I don't let myself down. I always do my best and I'm compassionate for myself when my best is not as good as it was the day before. Compassion is my value. I have to show it for myself.
Right. I'm my worst critic. I'm real. I have to learn. I have to learn that compassion for myself.
I am learning.
I am learning.
I
Exactly.
am learning. I get to learn. All right. Who's next? Mary Margaret?
I think it's just because of the state of mind I'm in right now, because I got contacted from somebody I didn't want to get contacted from today, that it's really just making me think of like my boundaries. I know we're not really there yet, but we're inching our way there. But just like what those boundaries are, and like I think it's just we are so bred to, like you talked about loyalty, Monique, and I think I've felt that too. Like I've been bred to, I don't know, we're all women, so we've been bred to be like seen and not heard. And so I think a lot of us have been just like trying to go with the flow and not rock the boat and not necessarily supporting our own values. So now I'm like, well, if this person is trying to involve themselves in my life and I don't want them in my life because their values don't align with mine, I don't have to have them in my life. Like it really can be that simple. So I'm trying to formulate like how I want to say that to that person and then just block them because it's not healthy. Jackie, it's my mom's husband. He contacted me today.
Oh,
So
all
I don't
right.
know. Everything I was writing is supporting my vision of the life and that I want to have and that I'm creating. And some of it's already happening, but some of it is like just the act of manifestation. If you don't like envision it, it's really hard to make it happen if you don't know what that looks like. So I think it's just kind of fun. Like a little kid when you're like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Like,
Yeah, I know. And look at the smile. We're all like, what do I get to be? And here's the thing, you brought it up, right? So you brought up boundaries and we're inching our way towards that. And one of the main reasons why we did this exercise is because we're going to talk about boundaries, but this is what the boundaries are protecting. So the boundaries are either protecting this vision or the values that created this vision or the resources that we need to get the vision to come to life. That's what our boundaries are going to be protecting.
so many things that can knock your peace, and I just want to protect my peace because I'm getting it, and I don't want anybody to get in the way of that.
And that's it. And you are allowed to feel that, right? And then it's just about how do we communicate them. Heather or Teresa, you want to share?
Let me unmute here. I still don't do so great with the meditation, but I let my mind just wander a little bit. So I would say similar to what you were saying, like one of my values is honesty, which I also take to be, um, you know, being honest in relationships and authentic. I kind of have them as being, on the same level for me. And I think that's something that I value highly with people that I want to have a relationship with. But I was thinking that I might not show it I might not share that part of me with other people as much because I'm looked at as one that, is like, nothing bothers me. I'm strong. I have it, I have to make sure, okay, yeah, I've been out of work, but, I'm not talking about it. We don't get into all that stuff. It's just like I take care of everything and I'm not going to show that. I don't show that piece. And maybe I should, because I want people to be authentic with me. So not that I'm going to be sit there, and just complain about what I'm going through, but maybe to give a peek into, just like everybody's got something they're dealing with and you don't know what that is. And sometimes I don't like to show it because then I think it shows that I'm weak or, I don't have it all together, which I don't like to. I like to put on the facade that I have it all together.
Right. And that goes against the honesty.
Right.
Right. It goes against the honesty. Right. That was one of the hardest things for me was, and when I realized how important it was so important for me for other people to show up as their authentic selves. And I was putting on this show that everything was perfect all the time. And I had to really start talking out about how it wasn't, not in a heavy way,
Yeah.
in a very, which is why I do this now, right? Like I basically have told you all of my worst stories about myself in every single one of the 11 lessons that we've done, right? But none of you think I'm a horrible person, right? They were all these realizations of things that I was doing and saying and being and holding on to that were keeping me from living this life. Like, even so, I was in weight loss coaching for the longest period of time, right? And so people would tell me all the time that they used me, not because I was the thinnest health coach out there, because I wasn't, but because I was the most authentic and honest about the struggle. And they wanted to be supported by someone that understood the struggle, right? So that authenticity brought the people in my life that actually needed to be in my life. And so when we're not that, who are we keeping out? Who looks at us and says, I can't be like her. I don't want to talk to her, right? And then you finally let your guard down and they're like, oh, I think that way too. Right. I don't know about any of you, but I've held people on a pedestal and then I got to meet them and I'm like, oh yeah, no, they don't belong up there. Right. Because I have these ideas of whatever they put out and then they show up, and it's not in a bad way. It's just that I glamorized what it was. And especially in this era of social media too, like we can see what we think people are, but then when you get to know who they really are, you realize we all have stuff. Like you said, Heather, we all have stuff. Right. So to go through life, not wearing our stuff on our sleeve, but being honest about it, it opens the doors for really authentic relationships. Mm-hmm. I had to clear out all the people that thought that I was the old version of who I am and would like argue with them. Like I would have to argue with them that that's not who I am. Right. Because I put up such a good front. Well, that's not really who I am. No, you're so strong. Yeah. Not really. Like I cry in my bathroom naked sometimes, right? Like, and that kind of stuff. Like, it's like, be honest when they say that, right? When they used to say that, I'd be like, yeah, I am. Right. Now I'm honest. I'm like, cry in my bathroom naked sometimes. Had a really hard time. Heather and I, we are friends from a very long time ago. And when we reconnected, I was honest about a lot of things that have gone on that you don't need to share. Like, you don't need to, but it's important for me that you know who the real version of me that you're speaking to now is. It's important for me if you are important to me, right? I also had to learn not everybody gets to know everything.
Yeah.
Because there's a big part, right? And we can keep it guarded. But the vulnerability, we're going to get into that in 2 sessions after this. So boundaries is 3 sessions. And there's a lot. The protecting of this vision and these resources is the only way that this version of the life comes together, right? Mary Margaret, if you don't protect yourself against this piece of the relationship, then the relationship that you're dictating that you want with your mom may get compromised, right? It's how do I protect with a boundary here so that this doesn't infiltrate the wedges, all the different wedges. That's what the next couple of things are going to really be about. So we're going to learn not only what boundaries are, we're going to learn exactly what they're protecting. We're going to learn what kinds we might need. We're going to learn how to communicate them in conflict and in non-conflict. We're going to learn where people belong if they don't align with the boundary or the value in our lives, so that we can release all the guilt and the blame and the negative emotions that we have about why we aren't as close with these people as we should be. We're going to just release all of that, because this work in these boundaries and these values and understanding these resources, this is the stuff where if they're not in alignment with that stuff, then they don't get a place at the table. But there's such a wonderfully loving, kind, beautiful, compassionate way to give them a place where they belong. It doesn't have to be at the table. It doesn't have to be at the table. And that's the stuff that even Mary Margaret was saying. Like, a lot of us have been told to be seen and not heard, right? And that's where a lot of this stuff, it goes away. Like, all these belief systems is like, well, yeah, that might work for you, but that's not who I am. Because from this point on, we're showing up as this version of us. Because this is the version of us that our soul is screaming at us to be alive. This is why we get stuck in those lower level things, because we're not aligned with this version. So we're going to create this version. We're going to protect this version. We're going to protect all the things that come into play with this version. And it's all coming.
Well, Jackie,
So.
like when it kind of reminds me of, like, now in this age where we have social media and that takes up a lot of our time. And I miss when we didn't have it, to be honest. But people, and if you're looking at it, you're looking at all the best moments that they want to show you, but you're not looking at the parts where they're lying on their bathroom floor crying. You're not looking at the parts where everything's going wrong. And sometimes you are, like, then it's like too far in one direction, but more times than not, people are posting all the wonderful things, but that's not reality. So I mean, I personally want to be kind of like what you're doing. Like, I want to be honest, because I don't like trying to hide my feelings. Like, how people have this like culture now where they go, "Hi, how are you?" Like, it's all one word. "Hi, how are you?" But then how you are, they just say it. And I'm like, well, you know what? Today wasn't so good. Like, I'm not going to get into a whole thing on it, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to say, yeah, everything's great when it's not, because I don't think that's authentic. And I want to be real, whatever
You want to
that
be
is.
real, because
Yeah.
if you're real, you're going to attract real.
Yeah.
And if you're real, you're also going to repel not real. You're going to immediately wean out the people that don't want to be real. You are, or you're going to be the light for the people that want to be real and don't know that they're allowed to be.
Actually, I feel like that's what's been happening lately. I feel like every room I go in, I find somebody that I'm connecting with, even if they're just acquaintances at work, and we're having deep conversations, but they're all really real and genuine. And it's nice. Even if they're heavy, it's nice. It's just like, okay, we talked about that and we didn't just sit in it and, like, pretend it wasn't happening or be depressed about it. We at least, like, talked about it with each other. So I don't know. It's been nice.
Yeah. And there can be boundaries around the heaviness too, right? Because when we are real, we do invite that. We do invite authentic conversations. And there can be boundaries around that too. You can become a dumping ground for someone because they know you're a good listener at that point, right? And then it becomes, how do I have a boundary around that? That in the third boundary session, when we start to move people, it's just one of the most freeing exercises you're ever going to do. We just make a list of all the people that are in our lives and we place them exactly where they're meant to be. And then we have no guilt about it, only love. And then we get to release our expectation of how we're supposed to show up for them. It's just one of the most freeing things. And, and just having boundaries. And whenever you get to the lesson, I know I posted it late today, but you'll get to it, and just understanding, like, boundaries is just like a dance. When you get to the porcupine story, you're really going to get it. You really are. There, it's such a good story. Porcupines need each other for warmth in the winter, but when they try and get in for warmth, they prick each other. And they either get annoyed and they go out to like die on their own because they're so annoyed they can't handle all the pricking, or they figure out a way to settle into each other's pricks and like find the gratitude in it. It's just amazing. But that's what boundaries are all about, right? It's the balance between pricking and being pricked. So on that note, thank you guys for showing up. This was awesome. I loved all the shares tonight. I really appreciate you being open and honest and authentic, because that's kind of the group that I'm trying to cultivate. Make sure you book your one-on-one sessions. I'm around all week. I haven't seen a few of you in a while, so it'd be nice to get your one-on-ones on. I miss you. And no matter where you are on this journey, I talked to a couple people this week. If you're behind, it does not matter. We're still connected. You are where you are. I meet you where you are. These groups can still be beneficial wherever you are. So if you fall behind, please still show up and take part in just listening and learning from women that are going through it, just like you. We're all untangling from different things, and there's no failing as long as we keep showing up. So thank you all. So proud of you. Let's go out into this week and let our values be our guides. I will talk to you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.